Okay, everybody, so I'm gonna kind of show you what happened last night. I have it drawn out and I'll set this down in a second to show you, but a ship came in from over there somewhere. I thought it was a car. As you can see, there's like a tree line right there. There's nothing above it, no mountains. There's no road right there either. I thought it was a car because it was so low to the trees. It was like right on top of the trees over there and making absolutely no noise. Now, I've been out here for a week. I've been watching the flight patterns of the planes. They don't normally change. Occasionally one goes off course, but they don't come that low, that's for sure. So I thought a car was over there because I kept seeing a headlight. And I was like, what is that? Why is there a car over there? Thinking during the day, maybe I didn't notice that there was a road and like a mountain hill over there. Well, then all of a sudden it shot up and it was up above the trees and moving straight across smoothly. And then it started like dropping down real quick, shooting over real quick, dropping up, shooting down, moving over, until it got past. So here's the dead tree where all the birds hang out, and I'll post photos. There's some cool things over there, but that ship came. Let's see if I can keep it from focusing on my finger here. That ship came along the tree line, and there was no reflection at all in the lake. Now this is at night. This is right before the moonrise. My guides told me I needed to stay up until moonrise, and I didn't really want to because it was like 12:30 at night, and it gets really cold up here, so I've been going to sleep early. But I stayed up because they asked me to. And right before moonrise, had a Sasquatch energy come up behind me on the mountain and wait, kind of watching me. And then this thing that came through, and all of a sudden it's sitting right there, and there's a sudden reflection in the lake. And the crazy thing is, there was no reflection before. It's just suddenly there's a reflection, and then a brilliant blue-white flash. And I feel and kind of see three energies come out here. Now, last night I thought there were 3 trees there. There are not 3 trees. Obviously, there are only 2, because I thought the lake was reflecting between the trees, but the lights kept moving like flashlights, like they were looking for something, and my mind kept thinking, no, it's just the nighttime reflecting on the trees. And I kept hearing, no, that's not the case. It's something more than that. And here there was one being in between the trees over there, and there were 2. There was one like right there beside it, and one kind of about there in the middle. And there was light, like you could see them looking around, and everywhere they looked there was like a beam of light, but really, really dim. Really dim, not bright like our flashlights, like dim light, looking around. So then I'm back at camp here, and I'm over here, and I'm standing. You can see I got all my stuff still out. I'm standing by my car over here, and I'm, back here watching this go on, and I'm going, what the hell is going on? I see the ship kept, after the blue flash, the ship kept moving, and I'm thinking, was it a helicopter? Was the flash just, something my mind made up? That sort of thing. But the ship just keeps moving and doing its thing and kind of goes off into the distance. And I'm like, it was dead silent out here. There was no sound, nothing. Dead silence. You could hear every plane in the sky. You could hear them before they came, after they moved on. A helicopter flying right above the treetops, where it could be reflected in that lake right there, in that thin piece of lake. You would have heard that. Like, there's no way it was a helicopter. And it was funny because they sent me 2 helicopters this morning. Actually, one much later last night. But the helicopter path is behind me. The helicopters all fly right here, back and forth, right in here. That was over there. and right above the treetops. It was pretty cool. And then those beings came out up there. But so as the night went on, the really interesting part was I could feel the energy shifting, and they were just investigating and like standing out there watching me and feeling me out. A lot of times they don't actually come to us. It's like trust building exercises and stuff. And one of them, or something anyway, I was standing here watching them, looking at the lights, trying to debate if they were lights or not, and obviously counting, like, there's 2 trees there. I woke up, there's 2 trees. The way the lights were shining yesterday, I thought there was a 3rd tree, so there was something else there in the middle, and I'm not sure what it was, if it was one of the beings standing there, or if it was technology or something. But at one point I tried to grab my camera. I was like, well, maybe I'll be able to take a picture. I never do the picture thing with these, but maybe I'll take a picture and be able to figure out what's really going on. Yeah, my camera just did not want to work with me. The flashlight came on, the like flash control panel stuff wasn't working, and I just put it down because it blinded me. But I'm standing out here for a while, and all of a sudden in my peripheral vision right here, there's a shadow about this tall, comes over, walks over, raises his hand, and I hear telepathically, hello, I'm gonna look at your campsite now. And then he moves around my campsite and he's looking, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's talking about looking for weapons and things that can harm them, type of thing. So they never got closer than that. They stayed out there. I didn't approach them. I never approached them. It's always like, stay in your spot. We created an energetic circle. Actually, I should say they created, or maybe I did it automatically. Sometimes I do without knowing. And they told me not to leave the circle, so I didn't. And they just kind of stayed out there all night. The moon rose, and then I ended up going to bed because literally nothing was happening. They kind of faded away. So I'm not sure if they got picked up or what happened, but I'll show you here what the ship was doing. So I don't have a standard stance. Hopefully this will work. I just put together some quick, really rough images. So the dead tree. Let's see if I can do this better. So when I say the dead tree, that's the dead tree. That's the start over there. And those are the 2 trees where they popped out. So the ship was over here. And it was like there wasn't much space between. I mean, at times it was like the light was in between the trees, which is why I thought it was a car on a road. It came in this way, and then it moved through kind of the trees, the lights disappearing, and then all of a sudden it went up and then moved in like these orange and red lights, and then it got to a space and then just went drop down, and then when it does these heights and drops, it was doing them really, really quick. And then it was just kind of slow moving, and then moving, and going down. And then all of a sudden it just kind of stayed at that height. And when it stayed at that height, now this is the dead tree on my really, really bad drawing here. This is the forest. These are those 2 trees that they came in. It came in like this, right above the treetops. Kind of a little higher than that, maybe like that. Just kind of right along the treetops. And the whole time, no reflection, nothing. As soon as it hits here, boom, reflection. And then it hits about here behind the tree, and all of a sudden there's a big blue white flash right here, and you kind of feel like and see 3 shadow type things exit. Now, like I was saying, those 2 trees, so if I draw this here, This is just going to be tree number 1. Lovely tree. Tree number 2. Lovely tree. Here's the lake. Pretty little trees. I forget what Bob always says. So there's tree number 2. All of a sudden, I can feel a being here in between it. So over there, right there. Just gonna try and focus on my stuff. Right there, I can feel a being there. And there is this light hitting the ground like this. And then there's a being here. And there's a light hitting the ground like this. And they are moving like this. And this one's going back and forth this way. Almost like they're searching for something. And then, I swear, last night when that happened, there was a tree here. There's no tree. There's a tree behind them at the lake, but not, you know, the lake is that one's back here. The lake is here. I thought there was another tree here. So something else appeared last night, or something else was energetically there. But on the other side of this one, there's another one, and he was shining his light like this, going back and forth. And they just stayed out there. At times, they were kind of like the lights were moving up a little, down a little. And I kept looking over here, testing my eyesight, trying to figure out if it was reflections, if it was I was seeing things, you know, all that sort of thing. But no, they were very, very high vibrational light beings of some sort who popped out and were moving around out there. Before this happened, my Sasquatch that's out here and the maiden of a forest both told me to stay out here because something was coming. And sure enough, at, I don't know, 11:30, 12 o'clock, that's what happened. It came in. And I kept thinking, okay, what's going on? Now, there must have been a fourth being because while these lights were on, that's when the little guy came up in my peripheral vision and scared the bejesus out of me. He just very gently, like, looked over at me, and he had one of these heads, one of those stereotypical, you know, big gray heads, but he was black and purple, kind of like that, but solid eyes, and very, very dark, shadowy looking. He walked around, looked at my stuff, and then disappeared. I don't know if he went back here or where he disappeared to, but you couldn't physically see him. He was out of phases, I would say, just higher vibrational type of being, or using technology. I actually kept hearing while I was filming this that they were using technology to hide themselves, and I was perceiving the dim light from whatever they were using as they were looking at stuff. The craziest thing is this tree. I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm gonna figure this out if I actually saw this or not. And I looked up in the morning and I was just like, where's the third tree at? It's not there. Where is it at? It's not there. It just isn't. So then I'm talking to them in my guides, in my ET guide, ZX22B, he's a Zeta, and he's talking to me and being like, yeah, that was a ship and some beings popped down and they were there. They were a small being that were easy to perceive and non-threatening, that would be an easy test to see how you react type of thing. And then I'm like, okay, so this was pure silence. There was nothing, just this light, this orange and yellow light zipping across, but moving real smooth, real slow, almost like a car. Only a car, you know, doesn't move through the air and zigzag. And the only time it moved fast is when it went ting, 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 ding. So I was debating, I was like, you know, at one point I'm gaslighting myself and I'm going, you know what, that had to be a helicopter. And they went, no, there are helicopters coming. And that's when they started coming, and the path of the helicopters is back behind me. Like every single one. Nothing has come over there, come from that side. I have no idea what they wanted other than they were testing how I was reacting and responding. But the idea is, if you get out into the woods, you get out into nature and you can connect, you're going to see some stuff and potentially have beings pop in. I've been working with Fae the entire time, Sasquatch too, and I actually thought I was getting skunked on a trip. I hadn't seen a single UFO until last night. Not one. Not one ship in almost 2 weeks, which was a surprise to me. And I was like, oh man, you know, I'm not going to see any ETs on this trip. And then, you know, they told me they kept trying to get me to stay up till 3 a.m. the past 4 or 5 days, and I couldn't make it because of the cold and being tired from hiking. So then they said, make it till moonrise, and that's when this ship came in. Right before moonrise, about an hour before. And right here between those two trees, boom, reflection of the ship, never there the entire time. And then all of a sudden, bright flash and beings coming out. So that's my little story. Let me know if you have questions, and thank you for watching.